Sign the $11 million estate over to your brother. My mother, Marianne, said it as calmly as if she were asking me to sign for a package. She slid a 7-page waiver across the table toward me. I was 36. My brother Ethan was already holding a pen. That was the detail I couldn't stop noticing. He had arrived prepared to sign something before anyone had even finished reading the will. I looked at my father, Richard, but he kept his eyes on the table. Then I noticed Samuel Cross, our family's estate lawyer. He wasn't looking at Ethan or my mother. He was studying the waiver. After nearly 30 seconds, Samuel closed the folder. "Nora," he said quietly, "do you still keep your father's old financial records?" I looked at him. Yes. His expression changed. "Then I need you to tell me exactly where you kept them." In 2011, my father trusted me with something he rarely trusted anyone else to handle: his estate paperwork. I organized 4 categories of records, property, investments, insurance, and tax documents, and labeled every folder by year. My mother praised Ethan at family dinners, calling him the one who would carry the family forward. I never argued. I simply handled the paperwork whenever something needed to be correct. One afternoon, my father handed me a blue folder and told me not to throw it away, even after everything had been transferred into newer files. I asked why. He only said, "Because old records have a way of becoming important." 3 years later, I left the family business. The folder came with me. I had not opened that folder in 13 years. I suddenly wished I had. When I returned to the conference room, Ethan was explaining that Dad had changed everything years ago. "He wanted me to have control," he said. Mom nodded. "It was your father's decision, Nora. You need to respect it." I looked at the document in front of me. It was an 11-page amendment, dated 9 years after the paperwork I remembered organizing. Ethan spoke confidently, but Samuel Cross kept interrupting with questions. "Who prepared this?" Ethan hesitated. "Your father's financial advisor." "And when was it signed?" "Late that year." Samuel turned another page. There were 2 signatures beneath the amendment, but he didn't comment on them. Mom sighed. "Why are we making this complicated?" Samuel ignored her. He slowly turned the final page toward me. "Your father signed something else first." I knew exactly where the blue folder was. It had stayed in the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet, behind old insurance papers and 4 years of tax returns. I brought it to Samuel that afternoon. He opened it carefully. Inside was the 2011 memorandum I had organized for Dad. His signature was at the bottom, beside the signatures of 2 witnesses. One of them was Arthur Bell, the accountant who had handled our family's records for years. The memorandum was clear. The primary estate assets were to remain divided equally between Ethan and me. Arthur confirmed it when Samuel called him. "I remember that meeting," he said. "Your father was very specific. Ethan was never supposed to have unilateral control." I watched Samuel read the final page again. He looked up at Ethan. "Who gave you the amendment?" Samuel placed the 2011 memorandum beside Ethan's amendment and studied both in silence. Then he pointed to the property description on the newer document. "It doesn't match the deed." I leaned closer. The parcel number was different from the property actually included in Dad's estate. Linda Morales confirmed it. She remembered seeing the same mistake in an earlier draft Ethan had once asked her to correct. Samuel spent 17 minutes comparing the documents, checking dates, signatures, and property records. When he finally looked up, his voice remained even. "This amendment cannot legally transfer the property your family says it transfers." Ethan said nothing. Samuel placed the papers side by side. "Your brother didn't just inherit the wrong thing," he said. He signed, acknowledging that he knew. Samuel pulled one final document from the file. It was dated 2018. Ethan had signed an acknowledgement confirming that the estate's primary assets remained subject to the original equal division agreement. "I didn't understand what I was signing," Ethan said. Arthur Bell disagreed. He remembered explaining the document to Ethan for 17 minutes before Ethan signed it. The room went quiet. My mother stopped arguing. My father stared at the table, his hands folded tightly together. Samuel rejected the waiver and confirmed that I retained my rightful share of the $11 million estate. There was no celebration. I didn't need one. I took the blue folder home that evening and placed it back in the same drawer. Nobody apologized that day. I took the blue folder home anyway, placed it back in the drawer, and for the first time, it felt less like something I had been afraid to lose and more like something I had finally finished protecting.